I want to talk about something that I hear dancers say about themselves all the time. And I say it about myself sometimes too. I'm just being lazy. And every time I hear that, I'm like, no, that's not what it is. If you're someone who used to train consistently, used to stretch, used to feel excited about movement, and now you're feeling heavy, avoidant, or guilty instead, this video is for you. The word lazy isn't neutral. It's moral. It implies that you're choosing not to care. And most dancers I know care deeply. And that's actually the problem. A lot of dancers internalize productivity. If we're not learning new tricks, learning a new choreo every single week, we feel like we're not making progress. And that's how eventually we start tying our bodies and our body's performance to our overall worth. And when we start doing that, rest can start to feel like failure. In movement culture, you go on Instagram, you see everybody practicing, you see your friends getting new tricks, and you haven't even practiced in weeks or months. So now you feel like a failure because you're like, I haven't been practicing and everyone else is improving and everyone is progressing. And now we feel like a failure and we feel guilty. So especially if you grew up in hustle culture, athletics, dance studios, or stripping, resting feels unsafe. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you the number of times I've went into the club and one of the other dancers said something like, oh my God, you weren't here yesterday. We made so much money. And it made me feel like, well, I can't miss a single day because I might miss out on good money or a special event. And then it starts to feel like if I rest, I'm not going to make money. So let's move on. Let's talk about laziness versus burnout. Here is how I personally tell the difference between laziness and burnout. Laziness feels indifferent. Burnout feels frustrated. Laziness doesn't come with guilt. Burnout comes with so much guilt. Burnout is when you want to show up, but your nervous system is like, I literally cannot do that right now. Here's an example. Here's a perfect example that maybe you've been through before. You open the app, you're standing in front of your pole, you're about to get started, you're rolling out the mat, and immediately you just want to cry or just pull out your phone and just start scrolling. We've all been there. I promise you, this is not a unique experience. And I've went weeks, months, even in my journey of not touching the pole, not dancing, and just feeling like I don't want to do a pole trick right now. There is nothing that you could do to make me do a pole trick right now. There were months, me, Red, feeling that way. It's perfectly normal. Dancers are extra vulnerable to this because we don't just move for fun. We're moving for work, for money, for identity, for validation, for survival. I can't even tell you the number of times I've worked until 3 a.m, not went to bed until 6 a.m, not went to bed until 8 a.m. Sometimes I worked until 6 a.m. I didn't even get to bed until 9 a.m. And that takes such a toll on your body. It does. Inconsistent schedules. Sometimes I'm working during the day. Sometimes I'm working at night. Sometimes I'm working 7 days back to back. Sometimes I haven't worked in 2 weeks. And that will definitely have an effect on your body. The emotional labor of talking to customers, selling rooms, dealing with people's darkest sides of them, the social media pressure to show up looking perfect all the time, to promote what you're doing, to always talk about what you're doing, because if you don't, no one else will. The comparison of working with the most beautiful women you've ever fucking seen and having to show up and fit the part and look amazing every single day. And for online sex workers, it's like filming on good days only. It just feels like you always have to be perfect and you always have to be on go, and you can never really be off the clock. And I can't even tell you the number of times where my body was exhausted, but my brain was like, too bad, you're supposed to be good at this. Stop complaining. So when your nervous system is overloaded, motivation is the first thing to go. Don't depend on your motivation to be there. She's not going to be there. Motivation's going to be the first one to say, well, I think I'm going to head out. And this is because our body is in fight or flight. Forget motivation. Motivation who? I'm trying to survive. Your body is here trying to survive, putting you in fight or flight. So you might actually experience a freeze response. You might actually feel paralyzed completely from doing any of the things that you normally do. I've had this happen so many times, and avoidance is not failure. It is a message to you of what your body needs, because you are not a robot. Your body is not resisting movement. It is protecting itself. Like anyone who's been subscribed to this channel knows that there are constant waves of ups and downs. Sometimes I'm super motivated and sometimes I'm not. But what is the underlying thing? I still stay consistent. I allow myself to take breaks when I need them. I allow myself to rest when I need it. And every time I rest, I come back with more energy, more inspiration. So let's talk about the guilt, push through, and then crash cycle that we all go through. What usually happens is guilt. And guilt makes you push before you're ready. So I'm sure you've felt this before. You feel behind on something. Then you push too hard. You end up working 12 hours. Then you crash because now you're sore and you can't even get out of bed for 2 days. Then the next day you feel ashamed. You're like, why did I do that? I just wasted 3 days when I could have gone to work each of those days. And then because you feel that shame, now you didn't go to work for 2 more days because you just feel bad about yourself. This is how people slowly fall out of their routines without even realizing why, or fall out of their good habits without even realizing why. Too much of anything is not always good, right? Too much of a good thing can still be bad. So what actually helps with this? Because I don't just want to complain. I actually want to give you guys some reasonable, useful tips. When you're feeling like this, you need to slow down. What actually helps burnout, it's not doing more, baby. It's doing less on purpose. Redefine your training. Focus on maintenance versus growth. If you're in a period where you're feeling exhausted and fatigued, that is not the time to see if you can do a bird of paradise. You're going to practice your walks around the pole. You're going to practice your pole set. You're going to practice making your climbs super musical. Maybe you're going to practice your floats. You're going to practice something that's accessible. You're going to focus on maintaining what you already know how to do. I want you to remember that 10 minutes counts. Not everything has to be a full out practice routine session. 10 minutes is better than nothing. And doing 10 minutes every day might actually help you get back on track. And the last part that I want to really expand on is show up gently. You don't have to be 100% every single session. Sometimes I'm only giving 20%. Sometimes I'm only giving 50%. Sometimes I'm giving 120% because I have the energy that day. I need to be in touch with my body and realize that even showing up gently is contributing to my consistency, to my trust that I have in myself, and to the maintenance of the skills that I already know how to do. So here are some examples. Maybe you don't feel like doing tricks today, so instead you're just going to focus on stretching. Or maybe today you're going to focus on your flow instead of doing a bunch of conditioning drills because today you just feel like dancing. And allow yourself to fucking rest without earning it. You don't need to earn rest. Rest is a right. Rest is your right. You have a right to rest, girl. Rest. You don't need permission. You don't need me to tell you that you can rest. You've earned it by existing. This is honestly the heart of why I built red light therapy the way that I did. Not to create another place where you feel behind, but somewhere where your body is allowed to change, ebb, and come back whenever it's ready. And that's why we have lifetime recordings. That's why we have on-demand class bundles if you don't want to keep up with weekly credits, whether you want recovery flows or you want to challenge your flexibility and get deeper and become a contortionist baddie. We got something for every part of your journey, wherever you're at. This is just a very strong part of our philosophy here at Red Light Therapy. So if you've been calling yourself lazy, I want you to try a different question this week. Instead of what's wrong with me, ask what might my body be needing right now. You're allowed to come back at whatever pace feels right to you. There is no right or wrong. You're allowed to come back gently.